define the possible depth values for the rolling enemy, we can do this in a very simple way. So here we're going to type public int and then depth values. But the thing here is we want to define more than one depth value. In our case, we want to define 4. So this int is going to be followed by a pair of brackets, okay, because we are telling Unity that this is going to be an array of integer numbers. And now, when we start the game, we want to define its depth position to be one of these depth values. So what we want to do here in the start method is type transform.position equals to a new vector 3. In between parentheses, we have to type x, y, and z. So x and y are going to be unchanged. So transform.position.x here, transform.position.y here. And z is where we're going to kind of do our magic. We're going to type depth values. In between brackets, we have to pass an index. Okay, so if we have 4 values, if we have 4 different depth values, the possible numbers that we can pass here in brackets are 0, 1, 2, 3. So it starts at 0 and it finishes at the amount of values that we have minus 1, because in C# indexes are they start on 0. Okay, collections are 0 indexed or 0 based, for example. So a way we can get a random number between these values is to simply type random.range, and between parentheses we type 2 numbers. First of them is 0, because that's going to be the first possible value that we can use, and the second one is going to be depth values dot length. Okay, so this, if depth values contain 4 values, this is going to ensure that we're going to have here either 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so and this is happening here in the start method because we want the enemy to start at a random place. Okay, so now that we have this value set here, we also want to do the same thing when the player switches its direction. Okay, so here we can paste this. Okay, and you notice that a few things are going to be replicating. So first of all, we need to set the moving left value, we need to set a waiting timer, we set the transform position. So we should make a method that is going to help us do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is rolling enemy is type private void, and then let me think here, set values. Okay, so it's going to do some things for the player, for the rolling enemy. We're going to cut these 2 instructions here, so the waiting timer and the depth position, and I'm going to paste it here in set values. In the start method, instead of typing this, I'm going to type set values. So this is going to ensure that when the enemy starts, it's going to wait for a few seconds and also set its position. Okay, and also in the start method, we need to set the initial position for the rolling enemy on X. So it can be either on the left side or the right side. So there's an easy way to do this. Let me add an instruction here. Start the rolling enemy in a random place. Okay, it can be either left or right. So you're going to type transform.position equals to a new vector 3. So we need to set x, y, it's going to be the same. Transform.position.y. Okay, y, and z is going to be the same as well, so transform.position.z, but x, it can be either minus horizontal range or positive horizontal range, but it's going to be random. So an easy way to do this is to simply type random.range, actually random.value. If you see here in the summary, it says it returns a random number between 0 inclusive and 1 inclusive. But why are we doing this? We want to make a very simple check. If random.value is greater or lesser, whatever you want, than 0.5f. So there's a 50% chance this is going to be true, and there's a 50% chance this is going to be false. So we add a question mark. If it's true, then it's going to be horizontal range, for example. If it's false, so else, it's going to be minus horizontal range, like this. Okay, and very important here, moving left is going to depend on where the initial position for the rolling enemy is. So moving left is going to be transform.position.x is greater than 0, That means that the rolling enemy is on the right side. So, true. If not, then it's going to be false. Okay, and that's not even necessary. It's just a way to show you how this is going to be read. Okay, if we are on the right side, then we're going to move left. If not, then we move to the right. So we can even delete this. Okay, we can simply check this. We're going to move left if we are on the right side. If not, then we move to the right. Now let's save this, go to Unity. We wait for the compilation to be finished. And after that's done, we're going to press play. And now we have the enemy here. It started in this position. Okay, and well, it's going to be rolling around. So we just have to check now for a few things. Okay, so let's choose the rolling enemy. Waiting duration, I'm going to set that to be 2. And we're going to adjust a few things. Okay, because right now, yes, the depth values wasn't defined yet. So let's type 4 here. And let's start by setting -3 to -1. 1 and 3. It doesn't matter the order that you write things. And waiting duration is going to be 1.5. Okay, speed might be a bit faster. So let's use 5. We press apply. We save the scene and we press play. Okay, so the rolling enemy started here. Okay, it's going to be moving to a certain place. It's going to be moving to the other side. So apparently something is not right with the waiting duration. So let's check that out. So the problem is when we switch sides, we also forgot here to set to call set values once we should make the direction change. Okay, so let's save that and try that out. Wait just a little bit, then press play. And once we press play right here, let's check it out. Okay, so the player started here. It's going to move to the left. Then it switches its depth position, okay, and whatever it's going to be moving to a different place, and well, it's going to move towards the player. And as you notice, one thing that we have to do here is, if the enemy touches the player, then we should lose, okay, so it should kill the player. And the other thing is, the player should be able to move up and down, okay, otherwise this would be a bit unfair, okay. Our rolling enemy is simply moving around, but we can't change our depth position, so we would always die. Let's work on these two things in the next videos.